This was a man in Europe who wrote how love transcends death. And it was the story of his elderly father and mother. One day, his father suffered a stroke, and when he was in the hospital, he found he'd lost the ability to speak or write, but within a week's time, he had recovered both these abilities, and the doctor was surprised. But this ex-father was still weak, although he was home. But at almost the same time, the elderly man's wife was found to have a terminal illness. But she was an ekist, a soul traveler. Maybe not an ekist, but she was a soul traveler, and very comfortable with life. Death held no fear for her, and she accepted the fullness of love as more important than any other threat. And so she was admitted to the hospital while her husband stayed home. She was very calm about the whole thing, which amazed the doctors, and they couldn't understand where she had the serenity of soul to carry her through what would have been a terrible tribulation for most of the other people they had seen. This couple had been married for 40 years, and the husband missed his wife very much, and now they're separated. And the wife missed her husband. So she told her son later, she said, "I just imagined I was home in bed with my husband." And by using this imaginative technique of going home to familiar surroundings, to someone she loved, she was able to actually go home and spend the night with her husband. The first night this happened, the old man awakened for his medication in the morning and told his son, he said, "Your mother was here beside me in bed last night." And the ekist, understanding the ways of spirit, felt happy that this bond, this love bond which the couple had shared for so many years, would be able to continue even now. And as the weeks passed, as the days passed, the husband and wife were often together, but the man now began to have experiences with the sound of Ak. He told his son, "I can hear the sound of birds. I have never heard birds with such clarity before. I can even tell the different sounds and the different kinds of birds." This was the sound of the Holy Spirit coming through in one form. We know there are many different ways that the Holy Spirit will announce its presence to an individual. The flute of God and the sound of water, running water, and different sounds, high whistle, different sounds like this are all indications of soul hearing the Holy Spirit at a different level of consciousness. The mother translated or died 10 days after being admitted to the hospital, but she had told her husband, "For 3 days I won't be able to come and see you because I'm going through certain travel on the inner planes, having to check into certain areas, just the way you check into a new state when you get there. You've got to get your driver's license and vehicle registration." She told him, "I'm going to be busy for 3 days." On the 4th day, he woke up in the morning and told his son, "I saw your mother last night. She was young and beautiful and dressed in her nurse's uniform the way she had been during World War II when we met." And after this, they met several times, and shortly thereafter, the husband also translated. And the interesting thing about this to the ekist was that he had been laid off from work right during this period of time when his parents had been ill, and especially his father. One night, on the eve when his father translated, he was walking past his father's room, and his sister was sitting by his bedside. He walked in the room, and the father opened his eyes, and the son said, it's all right, it's only me. And then the father looked to the side of the son, watching someone come into the door, and his eyes opened with amazement, not fear or dread, but happy amazement. And he quietly left the body, and he went into the higher worlds of spirit. The son wrote to me, and he said, this to him was the proof to him that love transcends death, and that he was grateful that he had been laid off work during this particular time of a very significant spiritual moment in life.